Real Estate and Mortgage Show, your go-to spot for everything home buying, selling, and financing on Newstalk 580 CFRA.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Man, is that ever warm out there today, eh?
Oh, we've had a couple nice days, and we have great weather coming up. I think we're 14 or something on Monday or Tuesday.
Right, today, 13,
we
14
went 13,
today.
14.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, lots of rain, so lots of puddles everywhere. I was just saying before the show how sad it was that a week ago I drove down Colonel By and see everybody skating on the canal and getting beaver tails, and it was full when I left the show last Saturday, and a week later drove by it again, all puddles.
Yeah. Well, you were saying we got 55 days out of the canal this year,
days,
which
good
is
days. I
unbelievable.
mean, every Saturday I drive down Colonel By, and it's so nice to see everybody on a canal skating and families and kids, and it's awesome.
It was packed
So-
the few times I drove by, for sure. Yeah.
So years and years and years ago, I take my youngest Chase to the canal to skate. And it was on one of those days near the end of the season where it was really choppy. Like it was almost mushy and you could hardly skate.
I already sense an excuse there.
So
wait, weren't you a professional hockey player?
So Chase, it's funny thing is he would have been at the time, this would have been maybe 6-7 years ago. So he would have been probably 10, let's say 10 years old. And we're skating around and it's so choppy. And he stops me. He's like, Dad. I'm like, yeah, bud. He goes, were you really a professional hockey player? I was so bad. It was hilarious. But anyways, that's my fun.
It's got to be a little different skating on Zamboni ice versus
big difference.
Natural ice
Big
on
difference.
the canal.
I don't think I've been on the ice since.
Yeah, fair enough.
I got humbled.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right, so we got some spring weather going, and we got some numbers out from February. So how did February look, Paul?
Well, you know what? February have been they've been pretty sobering. Is probably the word I'm gonna use. We saw November, December were very, very ugly. Jan wasn't great, and Feb also was not great. But then I got some good news after I give you the numbers. So February number of sales was down 6.8%, and the average sale price was down 1%. When we look at year to date, including January and February, which they're usually slower months anyway, so we expect this. But the number of sales were actually down year to date, down 6.3%. New listings were only down 0.4%. And the average sale price was down 2.5%. So right now we're looking at an average sale price of $653,000. We ended the year at $700,000. So usually what happens at the end of the year, we hit January and it goes down. And it slowly makes its way up as we get into the March and the Aprils and the Mays. But, when we look at different segments of the market too, single-family homes, number of sales was down 11.9%, and the average sale price was down 1.2%.
Wow.
Townhomes, number of sales was up 10%, but the average sale price was down 5.7%. And when we look at condos, I don't even know if we want to talk about condos because it's just going to
We have to give all the information.
Yeah. Well, the condos were down 23%. 23%
Wow.
where the condos were down, and the average sale price was down 4.8%. Now, saying that, we are starting to see some turnaround and some good news. We're getting some multiple offers. We're starting to say things move that weren't moving, which is great. There's a lot more optimism in the market. We haven't had any rate announcement, which is going to change anything. But I just feel like maybe the weather, all the job losses that were happening in the government, I think really put a damper on things. But I think things are starting to turn around, which is great. Last week I thought was a very strong week. There's tons of listings. I mean, I think
I'm busy.
You're super busy. I think Kathleen said on Wednesday or Thursday last week she put 7 or 8 listings on that one day. So
She had 7 launches yesterday. As well.
Yeah. So it's starting to come around. So yes, the February numbers were not great. The year-to-date numbers are not great, but I feel like it's going to change. I feel like March numbers might be a little bit more promising when they do come out. And I think Frank, you even said you got quite a few purchases this week, which
it's nice.
You weren't getting a lot of those in Jan and Feb. I mean, which is good. So.
Yeah, it's refreshing for sure. 100% to see those, and so I got to ask you. So I know we went through crazy times during COVID, and people were listing for ridiculous prices and getting multi-offers. But I remember there was a time when I think if somebody listed for $799 and you got an offer for $799, the real estate agent would say, "Well, if you don't accept this offer, you owe me the commission because I did exactly what you told me to do, which is sell it for $799. Is that true or no?
Well, technically, yes, but that's not how
But
we
nobody
work.
holds it.
No
So-
one holds
No.
that. No.
So I've got a friend of mine who's in Toronto and says what he's starting to see now is real estate agents doing similar things that they were doing during COVID. They're listing it for significantly less and then bragging about the fact that they've sold it for 20% over list to try and get the market going.
In
So-
multiple offers.
In multiple offers.
Yeah.
So
Now,
this is what
you
they're
say
doing.
that though there is an appetite in some markets where you do underprice a tiny bit.
Tiny bit, but
a
in this
ti-
case, he said, Frank, a house that's $1 million and should sell for $1 million, they're listing for $799.
Oh,
yeah,
that's more than a little.
but the problem with that, if it should sell for $1 million, you list at $799. There's a good possibility you're only getting, $825 or $850 or $900.
Well, because they won't accept the offer. That's why I said the
Yeah.
first part, right? Like, are you bound? Like, can a real estate agent hold you accountable? But what they're doing, man, is, again, the realtor's kind of in on this too, because as far as my friend said, the realtor's got to be in on this because now they can start bragging that they just sold somebody's home for 30% above list price and all of a sudden start getting a whole bunch of listings as a result. So,
Yeah, well, we don't do that here. I can tell you that. Toronto might be a little bit different, but the agents in Ottawa do not do that.
I hope not.
No, we don't do that at all. I can tell you. I
deceitful.
can tell
I
you
don't think
that.
I've ever seen that.
No, well, we did through COVID. We saw a
COVID.
couple.
Sure, yeah, COVID,
we
but-
saw a couple people list homes for $1,
I-
knowing they were going for $700-800.
Oh, of course. But COVID, again, was an exception.
Yeah.
Definitely not,
But
a normal
again,
market.
I think what realtors are feeling in Toronto, and I think you'll know this, Paul, is a whole bunch of them are starving. Like, they got used to what was happening during COVID. I don't know how many realtors in Toronto, 70,000?
76,000.
Yeah.
I mean, how many ends in Toronto last year? Like, they're
starving.
Like,
there.
they're
lots
starving. So I wonder if some of them are starting to say, you know what, we got to outsmart the system, and here's a way to outsmart the system. As deceitful as it is, everybody tries to find ways to be creative.
Well,
whether it's right or wrong.
We're starting to see Toronto agents come here to Ottawa, which I'm telling you right now, if you're listed with a Toronto agent and you're here in Ottawa, you're making a massive mistake. They don't know the market here in Ottawa.
No.
And also, if you're a buyer working with a Toronto agent, they don't know the market here either. So you shouldn't be doing that. You need to be listing with someone and buying with someone locally. Just like I wouldn't expect anyone to want to work with me to buy a house in Toronto. I don't know the market. I'm not educated enough on the market.
You can't guide a potential buyer
No, I don't
properly.
know. I don't know which areas are great areas, which areas are bad areas, and I wouldn't even think to branching out. We start to see Toronto agents coming here now. Like a lot of times they'll actually call us and just say, "Listen, can you show our client the property so I can bring an offer?" Oh, or can you do the homework and send me a bunch of comparables and let me know that you're priced properly? I'm like, pardon? What? Yeah.
What a disservice to a seller or a buyer.
100%.
I can't imagine how that makes any sense to a seller or buyer.
None. Zero. You need to. You have to know the market. You have to know the intricacies of the market, of the area, in order to be able to represent that product, right? I mean, that's what us auto agents, we do. We specialize in Ottawa, and we don't pretend we specialize anywhere else.
Right. So so what happens when a buyer is working with you and asks you, well, are the schools good in this neighborhood?
I don't know. You're right. Yeah.
Hey, you're preaching to someone who. We have online brokerages based in Toronto that are trying to get into our market as well on the mortgage side. And again, I mean, they have no idea what neighborhoods or anything, and they're just trying to get business because there's none in Toronto. They're struggling in Toronto, so let's go to another market and see if we can get business from there. So I don't think it's right. I think dealing with someone who's local, I end every show with support local businesses and charity. So I believe in supporting local businesses and charity, and I try to do all my business with local people. I refuse to do business outside of my city if I can avoid it. Sometimes you can't avoid it, but in many cases you can. And you get, on the mortgage side, I mean, there's a lot of these, again, you go online and there's a lot of these brokerages that bait and switch you into, we got this great rate, but it's really, you have very little chance of getting that rate. Or zip chance of getting it.
You don't qualify for it. Most people would not.
But they'll take all your information. They'll tell you you're getting it, and then they get you approved, and you get the commitment, and it's a totally different rate. Then you go back to them, and they say, sorry, I couldn't get you that rate. But they knew up front they couldn't get you that rate, but they baited and switched you anyway. And I say to clients who have been caught in that, don't reward them. You need to penalize them. Otherwise, they'll continue to do it.
Yeah.
If everybody can penalize them for doing that and not do the deal with them, then they're going to learn their lesson. They're going to stop doing it. But until then, if people reward them, then they're going to continue to do it.
Yeah, agreed.
And what Frank, are they advertising like some insane rate? Like if you compare it to
they'll put a rate that's really not available for almost anyone, a high ratio, they'll buy it down, but they're not giving it away. I mean, they're just not giving that rate away unless the mortgage is over $1 million, then they'll buy it down because, it's no different than a real estate transaction, right? I mean, if the house is worth $1 million, you make a lot more money. If the house is only worth $300,000, you make significantly less, but the work is no different.
That's harder.
To list $1 million home versus listing a $300,000 home, there's really virtually not a lot of different work to do it, and sometimes harder. Same thing on the mortgage side where, they'll reserve those rates if it's a mortgage that's over $1 million, but they won't tell you. They'll let you apply. They'll let you do everything. And then all of a sudden,
for your $600,000 mortgage,
for your $250,000 mortgage, right? They'll suck you in and they'll tell you, no, you don't qualify for that rate, and now it's a 0.25 point more. Like it's not like it's just a little bit more; it's like 0.25% more. So
sounds dirty.
Well, it's a way of doing business, and I think sometimes people get desperate, and businesses get desperate to stay alive, and they'll do things that they shouldn't be doing.
Absolutely. Have a question, head over to realestateandmortgageshow.com and submit it there. We'll answer it live on air. Or give us a call, 521-TALK, 521-8255. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We had a question actually submitted a couple of weeks ago, and you were away, and I wanted to get your take on it, Paul, so I kind of sort of saved it for this episode. But somebody had sent in to realestateandmortgageshow.com. They were asking, they said, Paul, what would you do in a situation like this? And sent a link to a property that was for sale in another province. I don't want to shame anybody's listing, so I won't mention it specifically. Yeah. But when you clicked on the link and looked at the pictures, it was a complete hoarder house.
Yeah. So
how do you deal with that?
So listen, people would most people will say, well, you just tell them to clean it up. The problem is when you have that disease, when you're a hoarder, it's like a phobia. You can't clean it up. It's just you just don't know how. It's like not part of your makeup, and it's a sickness. It's a disease. And
subtracting things is not.
Yeah. It just they can't do it. They just can't do it. So going in and logically say we need to clean this up, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. A lot of times you have to sell it as is. That's just the way it is. Now, saying that, you have to price it as is too, right? I mean, a lot of times a hoarder house, it's not just the mess in the house, it's also a mess of everywhere. I mean,
damage underneath that you can't even see.
You can't even see, yeah. I mean, and things need to be replaced. They've let the house go. So a lot of times you have to price that accordingly and sell it as is. But, I mean, obviously as realtors, we put in the remarks, I mean, we're not going to put in here hoarder's house, but we're going to say, lots of work to be done. There's stuff everywhere, and then we'll have a conversation with the agent before they show it.
Anybody that books a showing.
Anyone that books a showing will say, just so you know, this is a hoarder's house, and it's not really show ready, I'll tell you that. Yeah. But if you can look past the mess, I mean, you're going to get a good deal on it because we had to price it accordingly, right. And a lot of times when that hoarder actually moves out, the stuff doesn't move out with them, put it that way. So you have to warn the other agent that when you do take possession, there's a very good chance there's going to be lots of work to be done.
You're going to need to bring a dumpster with you.
You're going to need to bring a dumpster with you. Or, I mean, the lawyers get together and they hold back money and they obviously pay, the seller eventually has to pay for it, for all the cleanup and that. But they're very hard. They're very, very hard. Listen, going through any house, there's different cultures in every city, right? Mm-hmm. And different cultures, some cook differently. They cook with lots of spices. They, the way things are decorated is very different. Like there's so many sensitive ways that you have to talk to people with different cultures, and it's just the way it is, right? But the one thing that I'll say that I pride myself on is telling you what you need to know to get the best result, not what you want to hear.
Not sugarcoat it.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm going to tell you. But a lot of times you have to be very sensitive when you talk to people with different cultures and different, different phobias and things like that. That some people like a hoarder, there's nothing they can do about it. That's the problem. So if you can get them to clean it up, great. But there's a very good chance you're not going to be able to. So selling a hoarder's house is basically just selling it as is. Priced accordingly, that it's such a good deal that somebody will come in and take that on. And there's an appetite for that. I mean, there's always an appetite for a little fixer-upper and doing some work and getting it for a great deal. There's always an appetite for that. We had one at one years and years and years ago. One of my agents ended up buying himself. The house was literally mess, just an absolute mess. And he knew when he took possession of that property that he was going to have
a big job.
And he had a massive job, but in the end, he cleaned it up, renovated it, lived in it for a bit, and then sold it for a tidy profit. So, it's that's an appetite out there for a lot of people, but it is hard. So to answer the question for, I think his name is Bob or John or something, to answer,
Bob, I believe, yeah.
Bob, yeah. So to answer Bob's question is it is hard, it is doable, but it has to be priced accordingly.
Frank, is there any issue on the mortgage side with like appraisal and
like on a property like that? Like, don't even bother getting financing. The person that's going to buy it shouldn't need financing, because if they do, not happening. It's just not happening. A lender, even a private lender, never mind a traditional bank, even a private lender which charges more, has zero appetite for properties like that.
But why?
Zero.
But why, Frank?
You can't get the improvements?
Because you can, literally, you're cleaning it up. But I guess what they're thinking is, sure, getting the junk out of there is one thing, but then the damage. Yeah, then the damage.
What's it look like underneath? Yeah. Lenders lend to get paid. Lenders don't lend to have to take a property back and then have to send somebody to clean it and fix it. And that's not their business. That's the farthest thing from their business. Even private lenders that one-on-one, most of them will say, Frank, do not send me anything that's got any of these issues, because I have zero interest. I'm looking to lend my money and put my feet up and get paid, not to have to worry and stress about sending somebody out there to kick them out they don't want any of that stuff. So again, the as-is, we talked about it last week, the as-is, fixer-upper,
needs
all
work,
that stuff,
TLC.
TLC, all that stuff, red flags for the lenders. And in today's world, lenders want less work, not more work. So therefore, that's why you'll see that they will turn down those files, even though the covenant might be very, very strong. The borrower might be very strong. But it's not all about the borrower. It's also about the asset itself.
Yeah, what you're borrowing against. Yeah.
That's their collateral.
I will tell you, if you have a hoarder house or you have a fixer-upper or you have an ugly house, the person you need to call is me. I will take that house on. Any day. One, because I know what Petra's going to do to that house. She's going to make it perfect. But I would definitely take that thing on in a heartbeat. I love ugly houses.
But isn't the problem the fact that if you buy a house like that, the people that are selling it still expect to be paid what their neighbor's house is, even though it's obviously got some issues to it. Isn't that
they don't
part
see
of the
it?
issue?
Because they don't see it, Frank. A hoarder doesn't see that they're a hoarder. They just don't see it. A lot of them don't.
Right.
Like when you go through the house and you're like, guys, like there's garbage everywhere. In their mind, they're like, what is he talking about? They don't see the mess. They think that's the normal way to live. It's a disease, right? Yeah. So it's but they do expect to see what their neighbor got. Like they're like, well, my neighbor got this. Well, but your neighbor didn't have crap everywhere.
Stuff.
Yeah. And you're right. When people think hoarder house, they think, clothes everywhere. Well, it's not clothes
That's
everywhere.
Just a messy house.
That's just a messy house.
Yeah.
A hoarder's house, a lot of times you're going to have food, plates, mold, water. Like it's a mess. Like that's a hoarder house. It's like a complete gut job. And it's not just clothes for a hoarder's house. So that's where the risk comes in. That's why you're saying you'll never get financing on that, because it's not clothes everywhere. It's not mess everywhere. It's garbage and damage everywhere.
Everything that goes with it, not knowing if there's water damage somewhere, not knowing if everything needs to be replaced. I mean, you're keeping your house pristine will get you top dollar. Having those issues, and I've been in lots of houses that have a lot of serious issues where you look at the appraisal, it's like, oh my God, like they really need to. They would have gotten $50,000 more appraised value had they done.
Had they spent $10,000 years ago on. Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't even realize it, right? Like I've taken on a lot of ugly houses, and I've renovated and flipped a lot of ugly houses. When you open up walls, sometimes you have to budget for way more, because once you open up a wall,
you find things.
You find things. Once you open up a floor, you find things, and it's never, I'm going to spend $70,000 on this flip. No, you might as well budget an extra 30 to 40% on that one.
Oof. Have a question? Head over to realestateandmortgageshow.com and we'll answer it on air, or give us a call 521-TALK 521-8255. We will be right back.